Hey Diana,
Hi,
how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great. Yeah, thank you so much for taking some time out of your day to hang out with us.
Yeah, sure, no problem.
Right on. Yeah. I mean, your resume and your job career or whatever you want to call it is extensive and it's impressive. How long have you been taking fitness seriously?
Oh, well, let's see. 20, about 25 years.
Okay.
I was an athlete growing up, but I would say like serious and like kind of pursuing bigger goals within the fitness industry and stuff was it's been about 25 years.
Right. So good chunk of your time then for sure. And
Yeah.
And so as a kid, like you're saying sports and all that, like what did you play before, getting into like the fitness, you know, road?
Oh, I grew up playing basketball and I grew up in Vermont, so I was really active as a kid and outdoors all the time, and I played field hockey, which is kind of like an East Coast thing. Like you
Yeah,
come out
yeah.
here Midwest and they don't even know what that is. But yeah, I played college basketball all the way through college
Okay.
and started working out actually when I was 14. That was when I first got into the gym.
And what was it that got you in there? Was it just a friend or just kind of, to get that more fit or what was it?
It was actually a friend. It was I was a freshman in high school, and one of my friends was on the football team, and he was like, "Hey, the football team, we get up at 6 in the morning and we train in the gym before school starts." And he's like, "Do you want to come?" And I was like, "Sure." So I just started getting up, and I would go and meet him and some other friends, and
Okay.
I didn't know what I was doing,
Yeah, sure.
but but
Something's better than nothing though,
it
right?
was better than nothing. And it made me feel strong. And I was very shy as a kid. So it kind of helped pull me out of my shell and, gain some
Okay.
confidence too.
Oh, that's great. That's great. So are you still a big basketball fan? Do you watch a lot of games? You go to games?
I don't watch basketball. I lived in San Antonio for a period of time. So I watched when I lived there, but I've been in Kansas City for 14 years now. So it's all
Oh,
Chiefs. It's
yeah, yeah,
all
yeah.
Kansas City. It's all
Course. So,
Kansas City
so
Chiefs.
you go to
It's the
Chiefs,
only
you go
thing
to the
that we
games.
watch.
You're more now of an NFL fan than basketball, or what?
Yes.
That's great. And I'm curious, like for when you are training, and you pretty much train all the time, right?
Myself, I
Yeah,
mean,
like you're
yeah, it's
constantly.
a part
Yeah,
of my lifestyle for sure. Yeah.
yeah. So what's your approach to like what's your nutritional plan? I guess like what's your take on building meal plans and all that? Do you do that?
I do. Yeah. We've been online person my husband Micah and I, we have an online personal training platform. We've worked with people online for 14 years. We were one of the very first in the online training space. So, yeah, we put together people's nutrition and their workouts, and we've helped literally thousands of people over the years just, work on those new habits, and, whether it's weight loss or building muscle, and go through, their own personal transformations. So yeah, I mean, I do that for them, and I do that for myself as well.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, I would say my approach is just a balanced approach to eating. That's kind of what I've always done. I had my own transformation journey back in 2005. I was 50 pounds overweight and 50 pounds more than I am now. And it was just, I was miserable, and I didn't feel well. I wasn't happy with how my body looked or how my body felt. So I kind of had this aha moment where I was like, I have to change, what I'm doing. And a lot of that was eating. I had very unhealthy eating habits.
Hmm.
And so that's what I did. I changed everything, and I started to see my body change, and I literally never have gone back because I enjoy this and I enjoy how this feels. So I never want to go back to what I was doing before.
Yeah, fair enough. And so what were the unhealthy eating habits like? Where it was just like eating too much or the wrong things or like eating after 10 at night or like what was it?
Yes, it was
We're like
it
all the
was a
above.
little bit of all yes,
Yeah.
all those. I had a major issue with compulsive overeating.
Mm,
So it was one of those things. And a lot of people struggle with this. It's a hidden behavior. And so, sometimes people will be like, oh, I eat healthy. I don't know why I'm losing weight. But then they have hidden behaviors where they're getting into the closet at night and they're, eating a whole bag of chips or cookies or just kind of binging at night when no one is watching. And that's what I would do. I would basically starve myself throughout the day. I would get to the point where I was so hungry, and at the end of the night I would just kind of have this really terrible behavior of just massively over consuming. And it came from a place of, sadness, and I was struggling with some just just a little bit of, I don't call it depression, but it was kind of on the verge of that.
mm.
And so for me, setting this goal and then developing the discipline that it took to achieve that goal, especially with my eating habits, it changed my body, but it also gave me this freedom. Like, it was like I felt so trapped by that behavior. So when I figured out, oh, wait, I can change my mind about this, I can discipline my behaviors, it kind of opened up this freedom for me of just like, I could, breathe and relax and know that I could absolutely control all my eating behaviors. And, that just, it opened up so many more doors for me too. But it was more that just like, oh, okay, I do have control of this behavior and I can make great choices and, do something more with my life too.
And what is it about, like, what was that first step to correcting that, to making it so that you're not, eating at 11 at night and ripping through a bag of chips or whatever it was?
Yeah, it was first just having a plan. It
Mm,
was just coming up with this. I didn't have any structure to my eating. It was kind of, you just wait till you get hungry and then you just eat whatever's available. So the first step was just, okay, for me it was, I'm going to eat 5 times a day, and this is what I'm going to eat at this meal and this meal, and I'm going to prepare it. And it was, getting those foods out of the house that were temptation, and then just getting the foods in that were going to help me, and then just being intentional with the preparation,
mm.
so that when that moment came when I was hungry and it was time to eat, it wasn't like this frantic, what do I
Yeah.
eat? It was
What do I eat?
literally right there. Yep.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
So the
Interesting that you say
preparation
this.
was huge.
Yeah, and it's interesting that you say, like, to get rid of the stuff that you shouldn't be eating, because for me, like, I have a ton of that shit for my kids, right? Like, stuff that's like, I know I shouldn't eat that, but like they want it for their lunches or a snack or whatever. But it's that, like, opening up the cupboard, it's like 10:30, 11, like, I quickly grab that. It's like, now I just destroyed my great day that I was having up until that point.
Yeah, and that's a really common issue with parents, I think, too, because if there's no kids in the house, it's like I just tell people get it out, because we
Easy
all
enough.
have moments like nobody's super motivated to eat healthy all the time, so
Mm,
you're going to have moments of weakness where you're tired or you're stressed, and so it's like if it's not there, the likelihood that you're going to get in the car and drive to the store to buy it,
you're
instead
right.
of just being like, well, it's not here, so I can just make a healthier choice, or not eat anything at all if it's later at night. But with parents, I do hear that a lot, that it's a bigger challenge, when you have kids in the house. I tell them, just try to keep that stuff. If you don't need to keep a ton of junk for your kids anyway. Like, you can
Right.
start teaching them healthier habits when they're young. But if there's some treats, like, just try to keep them where you can't see them, at least, like in a space
Right.
that's just for
Out of
them. So it's not
out of
like,
sight, out of mind.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and so for you, what are those cheat foods? Like, what are the ones you're like, I'm doing that, and
Oh, I'm chips, like anything that's crunchy. So like we go through seasons of like, I'm 45 now, and so I don't compete anymore. But every year, my Micah and I, we put ourselves through a mini prep, and it's just really to give ourselves new goals. We do photo shoots, and it's just to push ourselves to another level. So
mm,
during those seasons, like, everything's out of the house. We keep it super tight, like super clean. But then when then we kind of shift back into just our maintaining, or he goes into a building season, or it's just, we go out to eat more, we travel more. Then I'm like, if there's chips in that thing, we can't have chips in the house, because he calls me a chip monster.
I love it. My wife's a chip monster too. Um, what should somebody, if they can rustle up enough money and want to take the plunge and are serious about getting into it, like, what should somebody be looking for in terms of grabbing a really good personal trainer?
I what should they be looking for? I would say that you want to find someone that can help you with the nutritional piece too.
Mm,
Early on in my personal training days, when you become a certified trainer, you don't learn anything about nutrition. So it's not a part of certification, it's not a part of any of that. So most personal trainers don't actually know how to teach you to eat. And the eating in conjunction with your training, if you're wanting a visual result and wanting your body to actually change, you have to do those two things in conjunction. So that would be the first thing, is if you're actually wanting to lose weight, the training piece is great, extremely important, both strength training, and cardiovascular for your heart and your lungs. But if you're doing those things and you're not bringing your nutrition into alignment, then you're not going to see much change. You may get stronger. You may lose a little bit of weight if you're expending more calories than you were prior. But if the eating isn't on point, you're not going to get the result. And when I was a new personal trainer, I didn't know any of that stuff. And I feel bad. Like I say, like my clients that I worked with, like early on, I didn't know what to tell them to do. They were coming to me for weight loss, and I
mhm.
actually didn't know what to do, like what to tell them to do to actually lose the weight they wanted to lose. When I went through my own personal transformation, it was like this light bulb went off of like, this is the piece I have to learn if I actually want to help people change,
Mm.
because I can take them through workouts. That's great. But if I can't teach them how to change these eating behaviors and mindset behaviors, I'm not going to help them transform.
Yeah, and especially if they're not, they don't know. I mean, maybe beyond not knowing what they need to do, but like they're there, but they don't really want to make the change. Like you need to wholeheartedly want it to happen, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah. And a lot of what we do is we Hitch Fit is all about transformation. And we say it all the time, is it starts with the mind.
Mm,
Someone will see before and after pictures. We've got thousands of them. They'll come in, I want this, but I don't want to give up this. I don't want to change this. I want to
right,
change that.
right.
And those people will shake their hand, will say, hey, whenever you're actually there and ready to make a change, we'd love to help you.
Yeah.
But it has to start up here with, here's what I want. And even though these are the things I'm doing, like I'm willing to make the changes or put the effort in to get where I want to be. And we live in a quick fix society now. It makes our jobs hard because people want fast, they want quick, they
Mhm.
want shortcuts, and the shortcut typically never leads you to actually where you would like to go. So it's working on teaching people that the slower process and the development of the discipline and the habits, like, yeah, it's hard, but it makes your life so much easier in the long term. If you take the easy path, that usually leads to a harder life in the long term.
Mhm. And I think the interesting thing, I've had a few conversations with fitness trainers and whatever over the years, and one of them said to me, and it's such a great thing. They're like, when somebody wants a quick fix like that, it's like, well, how long did it take for you to get out of shape and gain 40 pounds? It took you 5 years, but yet you want to be like 40 pounds less in 5 months. It's not going to happen.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Sitting on your ass is not going to happen. Um, so we know that you like sports. You watch sports. What else, when you find the time to like sit back, relax, and binge watch stuff? Like, what are you binge watching lately?
Well, let's see, I'm a sucker for the dating shows.
Okay.
That's when I need my brain to
Mm.
just turn off and like
Awesome.
not think about anything. So I
Yeah.
torture Micah and make him watch, shows like The Bachelor with me, and
Oh yeah. And
I
you've always
just
been
keep
in
it
like,
addicting.
and they've been around for a long time. Those things, like
Oh,
10 years or so, eh?
oh yeah. I mean, and the thing is, the older I get, I'm like watching it and I'm like, what's wrong with these kids?
I know you when you
But I
watch it, you're
still
like,
watch.
what a freaking train wreck, and then your
I
life doesn't seem as
know, and
bad,
it's
right?
like, I
Yeah.
know I'm losing brain cells, but that's just like
Yeah. It's good though.
that's
Like,
my
it's something just to
pleasure.
turn the brain off, and yeah. And I'm curious, Diana, like in your house as a kid growing up, what are your parents playing for music?
For music, oh, Kenny Rogers.
Nice. Okay. Coward of the
I
County
mean,
and like
yes.
that.
Oh man, it was a lot of Kenny Rogers, country, and Beach Boys.
Yeah,
Lots of
same for me.
boys.
A ton of Beach Boys,
Yes.
ton of Dolly, ton of Kenny,
Yes.
Eagles. I got a lot of Eagles as a kid as
Oh,
well.
Eagles are good. Yeah.
Yeah, sounds like. And where did you grow up? It sounds like we kind of had the same music in the house, almost.
I grew up in Vermont, like
Okay.
way northeastern Vermont, a little town called St. Johnsbury that's like 45 minutes from the Canadian border.
Oh, nice. And like how little when you say little?
Um,
Like 5,000, 10,000?
about five, probably 5 to 7,000, maybe a little more now.
Yeah, yeah. I grew up in North BC. Same thing, right? Small. Like Kitimat was, I don't know, 12,000 at the most.
Yes.
Terrace was
Yeah.
maybe 20,000. It was super. What did you think of growing up in small town like that?
Oh, I mean, I loved it. I love Vermont still too. It was a great place to grow up because it was just I was out like literally just outdoors
Mm.
all the time. It was just so much activity and it's such a beautiful place. Well, it's freezing cold in the winter, but if you're up in BC, you know all about
Oh yeah, yeah.
freezing cold winters.
Like minus 40 Celsius. Like have a shower, come out, and like your hair literally you could snap your hair. It's that way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sticking on music for a sec. What was your first concert that you went to?
You know what's funny? Like because I think it was Dave Matthews Band,
Wow.
but I was much older because like going to like that seemed like such a like to go to Boston to go to
Oh,
a
is it just too
concert.
far? Or
That
yeah,
was just so far and just
yeah,
my I didn't grow up my family didn't have a lot of money, so it was like to go like do things like that was like
big.
whoa. So I think I was in college and my first like real concert was Dave Matthews, probably at what's the stadium in Boston, whatever the Foxborough, maybe is that the
Yeah,
stadium?
possibly. Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow,
so
that had to be epic. Like he plays for hours and hours, and they just jam on every song. Like,
yeah, it was amazing. It was incredible.
yeah. Do you watch much music? Like, do you go to shows and all that often? Or
We don't because I go to bed so early.
oh yeah, nice to
So
stay
it's
away
like,
from the chips and shit that yeah shouldn't be in sight anyway.
yeah, I'm like, oh, we'd be out past 9. I don't think we
Yeah, nice.
we
Uh,
really like Micah, my husband. I don't get up this early, but he gets up at 3 o'clock every morning and does this.
wow.
I'm later. Like I stay in bed till about 6, but it's just our flow, so we don't like
Holy.
yeah, we don't go out to concerts too often. I mean,
What
once
time
in
do
a
you go to
while.
bed? Like at 10, 9?
Oh, he goes to bed like 8:30, 9. I'll
Oh,
go like between 9 and 10. So he's every single morning, whether we're in prep or not, it's his creative
just
time.
the
He
clock.
just gets on the Peloton and he goes and he posts all the social media stuff and he answers emails. So it's like his most productive time and it's
Yeah.
super quiet at 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning. So
Yeah, true enough. I mean, I do that. I don't go that early, but I'll get up at like 5:36 and
yeah.
crack through a couple hours before anybody's even stirring and just, pretty much get most of my day done, before anybody's up.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's a great way. Who's the most famous person you've met?
Let's see. I had a period of time where I got to spend some time with different celebrities. I mean Mario Lopez, I hung out with him one night.
Nice.
Um,
Saved by the Bell.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
and he's doing all kinds of stuff. And actually, Saved by the Bell, there was I lived in Park City, Utah for a while, and so Mr. Belding he lived there, and so he
Nice.
would I spent actually quite a bit of time with him because he would always, if I was out at the clubs or whatever, he was always out. He was a super nice guy.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I'm trying to think if there's anybody more. I don't.
No, that's great. Are you kidding me?
I'm
I
like,
would kill to
maybe.
hang out with Mario Lopez. Man. That'd be so
Yeah,
great.
Emmett Smith. One time I met Emmett Smith. He
Oh,
was cool.
nice.
I trained. I don't know if you know who Priest Holmes is. He
No,
was running back for the Chiefs for like a lot of years. So I was he was I
yeah,
actually trained him for a summer.
no shit. Do you have to do you have to tweak the way you train? Like, say if you were to train me and Buddy, Would it be the same thing, just kind of dumbed down?
I mean, everybody's a little, it's just depending on their fitness levels and goals. It's usually a little different for everybody. Cause I have clients like, I just got back from the gym where I work with my oldest client who's 75 years old. So,
No
you
kidding.
know,
Wow.
I treat him a little differently
Yeah,
than
I'd say
like,
so.
than
Probably, yeah.
my,
Than a
yeah,
professional football player. Yeah.
yeah.
All right, Diana, I'll ask you a couple more and then we'll wrap it up. I told you it'd be 15, 20, so I don't want to take too much of your time. This isn't necessarily a question. It's more of and I almost every single guest I've had in the last 10 years on this podcast, probably close to 500, 600 maybe, share a near death story with us where you're like, holy shit, I could have just died there.
Oh, I've got one.
Yeah.
And it literally happened like maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago too. So this was so there's a hike. We just got back from Norway. We Mike and I just celebrated our 12-year wedding anniversary, and
Nice.
we always do trips. We travel for birthdays and anniversaries, we do trips. So we did 2 weeks in Norway, and we are huge hikers. So I have been researching like the best hikes, the craziest hikes to do in Norway. And there's this one hike called Crag Bolton. And I've seen people at the top of this hike. There's this boulder, there's two cliffs, and it's 1,000 meters. It's like 3,000 foot drop off, but there's this boulder
Oh,
wedged between the two cliffs. There's nothing, there's no rails, there's nothing to hold on to. And so people hike this kind of intense hike, and it's like very steep. You get to the top, and then you go out on the boulder and like you take your picture. So for years I've been like, I'm doing this hike, like I have to get a picture on the boulder. And so anyway, we do the hike, we get up to the top, and I'm not gonna lie, like I'm not scared of heights. And I got out there and I was like, this is way scarier than I thought that it was gonna be. And I literally just posted the video of like this step, because like I said, I'm not afraid of heights. So I usually don't get nervous or like my heart doesn't start racing. But the boulder was smaller than I thought. And it's a big step because like the boulder is like wedged. So you can't just like walk out. You have
yeah.
to, and my legs are longer than some, but not as long as others. So you have to take one big step, and you're stepping onto a rounded surface that's smooth. And there was like dust and dirt on it. And we had just walked through snow to get to this. So you're like, my shoes are wet. I'm not gonna lie, like I was scared, and and people are like, Micah was waiting, and so he's far away. He can't like help me get onto this rock. I was like, this may be the scariest step I've ever taken.
Wow.
Nobody's actually died on this, which is actually shocking because it is small, and it is literally, if you slip, you're gone. Like if you slip, you're literally dead. I mean, you're not gonna survive,
And,
that fall.
and meanwhile,
So
your legs are shaking, knees are shaking. Like,
yeah, so I did it. So I took the step. I hesitated, and I kind of like looked back to see if there was anybody that would like, hold your hand or hold on to the back of your shirt so you had some kind of security. There was nobody there. So I was
wow.
like, I I came on this hike. I have thought about doing this hike for like 3 years. I was like, I'm not getting this far and not taking the step.
Yeah.
So I did it, and I lived, obviously,
Yeah.
but I mean,
Wow.
it was really scary.
Felt like it.
And
Yeah.
I'm like, one and done. I'm done. I don't
And,
ever need to do that one again. I did it.
totally.
I
And
lived.
did
I'm good.
Micah do it as well?
He did. And he went before me, which I'm glad, because I think if I had gone, and he made the mistake of looking down.
Oh,
So he was out there, and he was kind of like, quick, 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 take the picture. Cause he looked down, and then he was like kind of
3,000 feet. Like,
freaking out. So I'm glad he went first, because if I had seen how scary it was before he did it, I probably would have been like, you're not doing that. Cause it's just like, I mean, if you slip, it is what it
you're
is.
done.
So anyway,
You're done.
I didn't die.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's scary, dicey. Could be. Yeah.
Yeah.
And last one, I want to know what you think is your career highlight, and like one thing, not tons of things. Can you pick one thing?
Well, I would say, yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of things I would say are highlights. Probably one of the most recent was we, in addition to Hitch Fit, we also run a fitness retreat business called Rock Body. And we actually had a real tragedy this past year. Our business partner died in February. And so we kind of have had to like rally and pick up the pieces. And we had a retreat in March, at the end of March, that so it was like 5 weeks after we lost him. And it was hard and as it was to like pull it together, and we had 90 people that came down to Mexico with us, and a lot of them were connected to him, so there was a lot of grieving and there was a lot of you know that piece. But I say it's a highlight because like God just gave us the strength to do it, and it was one of the most beautiful experiences. He gave us the strength to be there, to pick up all of those people and to kind of catch all of those feelings, and give people a place where they could let stuff out but then build them back up. And so I would actually say that experience, like there was so many powerful pieces to it, but it was probably one of the highlights of my entire life, honestly.
Hmm. Yeah, and like moving and just emotional, right? Like, how could you that not be a highlight of? Yeah, certainly not just your career, but your life. Yeah, well,
Yeah.
sorry to hear that. That's so tragic.
Yeah, that was a rough one, but we're making it through, and
Gone
there's
through, yeah, yeah.
God's got a
W
plan.
Well,
So
where do you see yourself in, I guess I had 3 questions then. Where do you see yourself in, like, 5 years? Do you have a plan for that far, or
yeah, it's kind of interesting. We're taking a shift. Like it's kind of, we're in this transitional time, Micah and I both, of like God's been tugging on my heart for years that I need to be on stages and speaking and sharing a message, and for men and women, but really especially for women. And so I've known it's been in my spirit for like a long time. And we're finally having this transitional period where through the retreats, we're hosting our first conference in January in Tampa, Florida. So not only will we be speaking on it, I'm coordinating it and kind of bringing all these motivational, like people with really powerful stories in. And
mm,
so it's kind of starting to open those doors to that next chapter. So I have a new book that literally I'll have it in my hands. It's within the next week. So it's kind of these pieces of opening the door to, I believe in 5 years we'll be doing more, probably less time in the gym, and transitioning that transformation that we help with to stages and to speaking and to really helping people dig in. And it'll probably be more in from a speaking point of view and from the retreat point of view. And I envision that we'll still have Hitch Fit, we still have that piece of things,
mhm,
but I see it taking it to the next level so that we can actually impact people on a much bigger level. So
mhm, mhm.
I
Like,
don't know exactly what it looks like, but I think that's the direction we're going.
I love it, yeah, so, like, kind of motivational, outlook, I guess.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yep. Just
and
helping people with those mindset changes and helping them dig in to figure out what the root is. What is that root thing that's holding them back? If they can identify that root and start doing the work, whether it's healing, whether it's trauma, whether it's pain or whatever that is, if they can identify it and do the work, then there's next levels that people can reach.
mhm. Well, fantastic. Thanks for the time today, Diana. Where is the best place for people to go to see you and kind of check out your programs and all that stuff?
Yeah, well, thanks for having me first off.
Cool.
And
Yeah.
the best place would be hitchfit.com, and that's our online personal training platform. My contact information is there. You can sign up for the newsletter there, which kind of gets you in the loop with everything that we're doing, but also you can just check out all the different online personal training options if working with me is something that you would like to do. And for our retreat business, it's rockbodyretreat.com. And the links for that are also right there on the HitchFit website. So that's kind of your place for
That's it.
everything
That's
together.
the hub of
Yeah.
the Hitch Fit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Diana, thanks again for jumping on today, and have a great afternoon.
Great. Thank you so much.